Hi, welcome back or welcome to my channel. If you're new, my name is Laura. Hi, hello, welcome. Before we jump into the video, I am barefaced and many days after you're probably seeing a lot of the footage. It's catch-up week or catch-up 2 weeks. I haven't edited my footage yet. I have a lot of videos filmed that I haven't touched. So we're going to do all of the updates that I have filmed and not put up and just give you all of the updates for all of the projects. That way you have like a couple weeks or maybe a week of binge content of all of my progress in my projects slash my haul, empties, that kind of stuff. There's a lot of videos. So just stay tuned. And now we're just going to jump into my actual footage that I filmed in a time ago. I'll see you soon. It's like a constant theme. It's been a while since I filmed. The last video that you've seen was probably my year-long project pan. I'm like double booking my filming today. I am filming this video, which is going to be my pan those eyeshadows. And then the next video, or maybe you saw my deck of panning first. I don't know. My uploads are late. I am here to talk about my pan those eyeshadows, and I'm super excited because I feel like I have a large amount of progress because I've taken a while to update. I'm like 2 months, maybe a month behind when I was supposed to update. That's a little bit of an exaggeration. I'm like 2 weeks past when I was supposed to update, technically. So it's May 19th right now. Typically I film my year-long project pan and my pan those eyeshadows at the beginning, like the first 7 days of the month, but here we are. We're late. It's fine. Things have been crazy at work. Bandit has been recovered from surgery, so things are a little crazy right now. No excuse, but that is what's going on in my life. But my pan those eyeshadows, I'm super excited. I'm like looking at my paper that has all of the things that are rolling out. I got a lot of rollouts and I'm excited. We're just gonna dive into it. All right, cool. So first things first, thank you 𝙍𝙚𝙑𝙑 for creating the concept of pan those eyeshadows. She created this project many moons ago, and it is really a eyeshadow centered project pan, meaning I'm trying to hit the bottom of a pan of eyeshadow within this project. I'm doing mine more like 𝙍intended this project to be, which is I'm randomly selecting my palettes and I'm hand selecting the shades inside of them. So I have no real, I do have rules. I have rules. They're going to be listed down below. I am going to be rolling something out that technically doesn't have pan. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but we have so many things to discuss today. I'm also doing one shade in this project in the style that Laney from Makeup with Laney is doing, where she has a prompt list. She randomly selects a prompt and then she grabs that prompt and picks a corresponding eyeshadow with it. So I'm going to be doing that as well, and that shade is rolling out today. Spoil, but yeah, I'm excited. So let's just dive into things. And how I really structure this is I usually go in order of what's been in the longest, ending with what was rolled in the last, chronologically speaking. I should probably show you my color story before we move on. Man, those colors were so pretty for this past month. So this is my color story for the past month. We definitely had a theme. We were feeling very pastel, very springy with the arrangement of colors. Maybe I shouldn't have picked so many shades that were so similar, but that is, it is what it is. Past me did this. So there's that. So I don't have any of the cumulative numbers in front of me. I'm sorry for being a tragic panner and a tragic YouTuber right now, but I just can't be bothered. We're going to start our way down. So that first shade in my color story is this wonderful gold shade. That is the shade Aurm from my Natasha Denona gold palette. This sucker is so reflective and it gets so grubby because of its shine. But when did I roll that shade in? Here's what we were looking like when we rolled it in. There might have been a little bit of usage prior to rolling it into this project. However, there really wasn't much usage. Here's what it was looking like at the last update, update 4, with 1 month of usage in it. But here is what Aurm looks like today. Hopefully you can see in that little center crater is shiny pan. I couldn't believe I hit pan in this. I really truly thought it was going to take me a lot longer to hit pan in. So within this month, I only used this 6 more times to hit pan in the shade. This is a cream to powder formula, and typically I'm going to grab the brush that I normally use with these is going to be kind of this super domed brush. I will grab the product and then I smear it all over the lid. That's my preferred way of using the cream to powder. So I do tend to see usage in pan relatively quickly with the cream to powder formula from Natasha Denona. But her shades are so enormous. There's like 2 grams of product in each of these, 2.5 grams of product in these suckers. So no joke to hit pan in these shades, no matter if I'm digging a brush into the cream to powders like that, or if I'm just using the pan as is. These pans are deep. The next item on my list is going to be for Laney's prompt. This was randomly selected from a prompt list that Laney had put together. I think I added like a couple of my categories, like my palettes, that kind of thing, / single shadow brands. Nonetheless, so the prompt that I pulled in for Laney's prompt list version, or like the shade that I do for Laney's prompt list, was something for a pastel shade. And for that, I ended up picking something that was from a Easter collection from Glaminatrix, because it's very pastel, reminds me of spring, like all the things. And it was a unique color to what I was panning. It is this second shade here, which is so hard to see, but maybe if I angle my hand, you can see it has like a purple, periwinkly purple base with a gold flip to it. That is the shade in my hand here, called Bonnet. How long have I had this in? Since the 3rd update as well. We had some usage when we rolled this in, not a ton. It was definitely used, but not nearly a lot. The 2nd update, I was really focused on other shades that I was panning other than this purple, but this purple was so beautiful for the month. And this is what Bonnet is looking like for the month of May. I have used it 6 times, another one that I hit pan within 6 uses this month. So hopefully you can see. I know the pan is hard to see because the shade itself is so reflective, but there's definitely pan in the center of this guy, which makes me so happy. I was wearing this a lot with like a purple eye base, or even like a periwinkle eye base, and putting this on top really helped bring the purple out of this shade rather than how I see mostly gold in it most of the time. The next shade that we have to talk about, again, was rolled in. When were you rolled in? Maybe last update? I'm thinking it was rolled in last update because it's not on my list from update 3, so it had to be update 4. I rolled in a shade from Kristen Leigh Cosmetics. This was a little bit of a competition with another shade that was in my year-long project pan, but if you missed that, I'll link it. You would have seen I rolled that shade out. You don't even know what shade I'm talking about, but this is what the shade Bloom from Kristen Leigh looked like when we rolled it in last month. It's a beautiful pink with a green seafoam shift to it. This has been so much fun to reach for also this month. And this is what that shade Bloom is looking like today. I hit pan on this, again, another 6 uses pan. Apparently 6 is my sweet spot for this month. And I hit pan in this. I ended up hitting pan in this yesterday. That was May 18th. Again, a little bit longer than like my normal updates for these projects. Typically, I update these projects within 4 weeks of my updates. This one has like 2 or 3 extra weeks, so just with a grain of salt, I probably wouldn't have rolled this out in a month. And that is what Bloom looks like swatched out. So hopefully you can see that beautiful shift in like the pink base with like some of the seafoamy greeny. My one matte shade that's in this project is this beautiful brown here. I wear it in almost every, not almost, I wear it in every single time I wear my makeup. I have worn this shade in some capacity, and it comes from my Going Coconuts palette. And I used paint pens and I redid the front of it, and I added little palm trees because I thought they were cute, went with the theme. But this is my Going Coconuts palette by Colourpop now, and I've been working on the shade Coolada, which is a neutral matte brown. And man, oh man, this is one of those Colourpop pans that is just taking forever to use. I definitely used it prior to rolling it into this project, but it had relatively minimal progress like even if I reached into it 100 times, it looks like nothing. But this is what that shade is looking like today. As you can see, there's no pan, unfortunately, no pan in this shade, but we have a dip. I hope you can tell there's a dip in that guy, but I know it's super, super hard to see. It's super easy to see the dip in person. Like I can very easily see. It's shallow. It's not like a crater of a dip, but I definitely see a dip in this. This one I have reached for how many times? 35 times within the past 6 weeks or so. 35 times. The last palette, however, is a palette that I am struggling reaching for some reason, and I think it's just because I had so many eyeshadows in all of my projects recently. So when I was selecting a shade in this, I really hadn't used the palette a whole heck of a lot, so I just tried to pick something that seemed different. So I ended up picking the shade Sweet Dreams. It is, I would say, almost like a coral pink base with a super gold shift to it. No usage. Maybe one time when I rolled it into this project. So you can see how many times I've used it. This is what that shade Sweet Dreams is looking like today. Barely any usage. I have used that 3 times, including my eyes today. Really had not reached for this. And I think part of it was because I had another pink in this project. I had another duochrome pink in another project. Plus I had like my MAC Blue Brown. So there was a lot of competition within the month. Plus I had a couple all shimmer palettes in my various projects also. So I just really wasn't like, again, something just had to give, and this was the one. I definitely can hit pan in this. It's not a difficult shade. The formula doesn't seem that difficult to hit pan in either. It's a little bit of that like crumbly multi-chrome duochrome formula that a lot of indie brands have. I really like that kind of formula personally. It's extra shiny, extra exciting in my opinion. But she's going to stay in. So I have 2 things that are staying in out of my 5 shades. So that means I get to select 3 new shades, one of them being a prompt item. So maybe we should do the prompt first. That way we get that out of the way. All right, so I have my Tiny Decision Wheel app up. This currently is on Laney's prompt list. Hopefully you can see that Laney's prompt list there. So I have one that I am going to select via this way. So I'm just going to click this a bunch of times and we're going to see what we get. Favorite formula. Okay, so I cleared the palettes that were in this project already out of my list, as well as I believe all of the palettes that are in other projects are off this. If I roll that, like anything in that's in a different project, we're going to reselect. But let's pick our 2 palettes. So the first palette, ooh, isn't a palette at all. It's going to be a Colourpop single. All right, and then the next palette is going to be,
or single, who knows?
Are you kidding me? The All I Ever Wanted palette. Was this in there before? I'm going to check. Hold on one second. So this palette was in at the beginning. I hit pan in the shade Sphinx. So I'm going to give myself the okay to veto, well, not veto, but like roll a different palette because I really want to spread the love in my palettes this year. So I am not going to be rolling Unearthly Cosmetics in, but instead,
we are going to be having,
ooh, the Sugar Pill Fun Size palette. That's exciting. All right, so I mulled over my options and I'm pretty excited about what I'm picking. So I've already swatched out what's staying in. We have the shade from the Going Coconuts palette up here. This is Coolada. And then I have this guy here from the Drizzle Sugar Dreams palette. This is called Sweet Dreams. So I have a pretty decent array of things that are going to be rolling in with it. So for Laney's prompt, favorite formula, I am picking a shade out of my very reflective Zendo palette. This is by Natasha Denona. And I love those cream to powder formulas. So I'm going to pick another one of those. Plus, They're one of my favorites to pan because I'm really successful in them. So I'm going to go ahead and roll in this shade down here. That is the shade Calm. It's one of the cream to powder formulas, and I think it's going to go really well with some of the other shades that I'm already working on, like the Sugar Drizzle, Sweet Dreams shade, and then some of the other stuff that I'm rolling in. But I'm excited to just get dipping into this palette as a whole. I don't use the 𝙍𝙑𝙪 palette often, other than like these two shades. The cream to powders, again, are truly some of my favorites. All right, so this is the Natasha Denona cream to powder shade in the shade Calm from the 𝙍𝙑𝙪 palette. Then after that, I ended up picking a Colourpop single, and this is the one where I had to really mull over my options pretty well. I don't have that many Colourpop singles, and what I do have, I have a lot of pans in my Colourpop shades, so happy that I have a lot of pans, but gives me a little bit less in terms of what I can reach for in this project. I have a lot of mattes, few shimmers, so we ended up picking a shimmer because they're so much easier to pan than mattes for me in terms of Colourpop's formula. Also, my monitor died, so I don't know if anything's going to be in focus right now, but I'm going to go with this shade here. This is the shade 20 something from Colourpop. I also think it's going to go really well with the shade Calm. Yeah, this is going to go super beautifully. I have a very cohesive color story this month. I mean, granted, I pick out the shade, so yes, I'm going to have a cohesive color story. Neither here nor there. This guy here is going to be the Colourpop shade in 20 something. I'm going to try to focus on this guy. There's already a dip in the shade. I don't know if you can see it. Again, my monitor turned off, so I have no idea. Then the absolute last item we have to talk about is this beauty right here. This is my Sugar Pill. Oh my gosh, I almost said Sugar Drizzle. This is my Sugar Pill Fun Size Mini Color Palette. This is the OG, the first of the bite-size palettes, or the fun size palettes. Part of me wants to kick myself for not getting the second one. That's what this guy looks like here. And this one, I might be making a little bit of a rash decision, but I'm going to go ahead with this shade here. Probably one of my least used shades in this palette, but this is the shade High Score. And again, I think it's one that's going to go with 20 something, which is kind of why I want to gravitate towards it right now. So that is the mac and cheese orangey kind of shade in the palette. This guy here that has absolutely no formable dip. But that is going to be the bottom shade right there. But the color story is beautiful. It's extremely cohesive. I can definitely get use out of like the top three shades here. I can use this shade with the two bottom shades. Like, I can get a lot of use out of all of these colors in tandem or separately. Like, I could totally do a beautiful sunset look using all of these kind of shades. I think I have a lot that I could do with this, and I'm excited to reach for my Sugar Pill palette more. This is a palette that I've almost so close to no pan left behinding. I just need to use this shade, and then I will have this completed in my no pan left behind. So that's going to be a focus for me over like the next week, essentially. But that is it for my pan those eyeshadows. I was very bad about keeping track of all the items that I hit pan in over the course of the month. The only extra pan that I really have to share with you is bonus pan is going to be this guy here. I ended up re-hitting pan in the center top shade in my Going Coconuts palette. That's the shade Palm Reader. I ended up hitting pan last year. It shattered. I had to repress it, and it was flat at the start of this year. I've already hit pan in it. It's a very shallow in there too, so, and it's a very flaky shade, so really I need to focus on this, get that gone. Also, I pressed something in here, so if this looks different, that's why. But that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for staying tuned, watching this video, dealing with my hiatus, like my random ebbs and flows of being here or being not here. Things have been a little bit wild in my work life, so there is that. Things are starting to calm down finally, a little bit. It's still going to be like a crazy 2 weeks, but things are calming down a little bit, and I'll go into that in like a get ready with me, I think. Let me know how you are doing in your project pans. Are you doing pan those eyeshadows? Are you doing it in Alexi's way? Are you doing it in Laney's way? Are you doing your own total spin on it? I would love to know in the comments below. But other than that, I hope you guys are doing well. I'll see you in the next video. And until then, stay healthy, sane, and safe. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.